Hello, welcome back to some of our fun videos here on Astro Breeze. And last week, the last video we did, not the transits, but just how to set up your kind of like your yearly chart or to look for dates. I went over this, but I wanted to just show you. I filled mine out and then I just quick color coded it. And this is my handwritten one that I made before I put it in the computer and made the other one. And then I did add the sextile uh, over here. I'm trying to think what else I did. I think that's all I did. Did I add the other one over here? Maybe I added the sextile on this side too, on the other chart. I can't remember, probably. But that gives you all the aspects. So just to recap, this is my chart. And what I did is you could see I got the sun, the moon, I got Venus, I got sun to Venus. I had Venus to Venus, then sun to Venus, sun to Mars, uh, Mars to Mars, and then sun to Jupiter, 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 sun to Saturn, and then Saturn to Saturn. You see all the way down like that. So what does that mean? It's like, well, every year on your birthday, the sun will be conjunct your sun, right? The sun is all the way back to the degree it was when you were born. That's how it's your birthday. Your sun is back to the same degree. And how would we know that if you didn't have calendars, right? I mean, you have to go look outside. You have to go look on your birthday and see where is the sun rising or setting? It's like, okay, it's just to the left of that street sign, or it's just above that dip in the mountain, or that tree, or above my neighbor's barn, or some kind of a symbol where it's like that's where it is on that day, because the next day it will be a little bit over, a little bit of it, a degree over, however celestial is that is on your planet, on your view, that's what I should say, from where you're looking at. But anyway, and then 2 days later, it'll be over some more, and then over some more, and then then through the year, it tracks a huge area. You just notice, and that if you haven't, you might want to, at this recording, we're at the end, almost at the end of February, so we're getting close to the equinox, when the days will be equal, day and night. The times, more or less. If I should say, if you're on the equator, it'll be perfect. It'll be equal days and night, the hours. If you're off of that, it's a little different. But anyway, another lesson, another day. But anyway, if you notice the time will be pretty equal day night. If you were to note that, where is the sun setting or rising on that day, on March 21st? No matter what hemisphere you're in, you just get one or the other. So in the northern hemisphere, that's our spring equinox. The light is more the same, and then we'll keep going, and the sun will be moving farther farther north every day, until it gets as far north as it is on the longest day of the year, June 21st. Then it will start moving back along the equator, so to speak, or your horizon. Let's just say that way. I'm sorry, misspoke. On your horizon, you'll see it come back, and on the vernal equinox, on the northern hemisphere, on God, and at the autumn time for us, on September 20, is that 21st? 21st, maybe 22nd, maybe 22nd, 23rd. I'm trying to think exactly, because it moves over a little bit. Anyway, when it moves into Libra, that's when the days again will be more equal in time. The day and the night will look more equal. And then the sun keeps moving. It'll keep moving south. Every day it'll set further south until we get to the winter solstice. That'll be the shortest day of the year, and it will be the farthest south on the horizon. And then the days start getting longer, and it moves more toward the north, and it'll keep moving to the north till we get back to 0 Aries, the first day of spring, and it'll be equal day night. And it'll move a big way. If you look on your horizon, go look due east, and then look a little north of east, and then a little south of east. Try to get maybe try to look a good 120 degrees, what you would estimate. 180 would be your arms out either way. It would be looking totally left and totally right. It's not that far, so it's gonna, bring it in. But it will move a great deal along the horizon line, and it's very interesting to note that. And look at the sunset as well. Same thing. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again, but you get it. So anyway, what I did here was I'm mapping my my journey of the year. So for me, on April 6th, I wrote down here the sun is 16 Aries. I didn't write the minutes. You don't have to do that precise. So I know that's that day. And then when it forms a square, when the transiting sun, the sun moving, in time right now, or whatever, every year on July 8th here, you can see it will be making a square to my sun. The transiting sun will be making a square to Carrie's birth sun. And then on August 8th, the transiting sun, when it's in Leo, it will be making a trine to my birth sun. See that? Because it's in Leo, right? And I'm in Aries. So you go, oh, Leo, Aries, trine, yay. And what day is it at 16? Oh, on the 8th. Oh, yeah, that's a good day for Carrie. And then the next month, we go to the 150-degree angle. So on September 8th, that's a crappy day for me. And then I tell it, this is like, say, my 3 months of shit. Everybody's 3 months of shit. You get your quincunx, your opposition, your quincunx. And it's just like a suck time. And this is good to know, because your sun is at like its weakest influence according to you, according to your birth sun. It's nothing to do with where it's exalted or its fall or anything like that. It's just in reference to you. See, so for me, when it hits, into that Virgo, the 16-degree Virgos is like, making the inconjunct, that quincunx to my sun. So it's like nothing in common and stuff. And then October 9th, it's like the opposition. And then November 8th, it's always going to be 1 or 2 days off of your birthday anyway, just based on the time. So here then it's the separating quincunx. So everybody has this. So this, I don't know, and this time for year, this for me, there's always kind of like crappy on certain areas about my sun. I pull the reins back on sometimes on a lot of my energies and different things. And there's other things too. But then you can see here it makes the square on January 6th. Whoa. So January 6th and July 8th are crappy days too, because they're squaring my sun. So not a real good day to maybe have a romantic time with your somebody or another, or you're just maybe not in your best mood. Maybe not be the most tolerable or the most compassionate day. So you might not want to do things that are like that. But like here, when it's on the trine, December 8th, if I said the wrong date, I'm sorry. It's January 6th here and July 8th. But on December and August, those are trine days. So I would want to note that. So what do? It's like, your personal calendar. You put some of this in there on the day. You write every August 8th, I want to maybe take that off or have a vacation around that time. It might be a good time. Same thing around December. Because for me, it's like right after about this, it starts getting like crap again. So good to note, because that's your sun, your vitality. That could be, your vitality. It may not be when you want to, do a lot of heavy things physical on those certain bad times or ill-timed times, and do good, more physical things on the sextile, which I don't have here. It's, it would be the 60-degree. On the sextile, the trine, or the last sextile, or maybe even the conjunct, depending on what it is. All right, so that's how that is on all of them. So I just want to maybe note what months some of these fall in. And see, I circled like all the conjuncts here because I want to know those days, because the conjuncts are pretty intense, so that's maybe the first thing to know. You don't have to maybe be so diligent about the others, but I just did that. And then I circled my trine days too. So I don't want it to all be crappy, but I would definitely want to know when those crappy days are, so I don't commit to things I don't want to. I don't spread myself too thin. I don't overpromise. Yeah, just that kind of stuff. It's like, you have your bad days, so those are good to know. So anyway, that's that. I just wanted to go over that again and impress that, and just show you how you can take it from the chart and then, put it into your notebook or something. I might want to note here like where, it's like where certain months are well, good and bad with different things. I might want to see if there's something offsetting. It's like if I got, I already said that here's the, September, October, November for me are like the quincunx, the opposition to quincunx, to my sun. But is there anything, are there any good aspects? Are there any trines or sextiles or anything with anything else happening that might be offsetting some of those times for me? Like here this September 25th, every September 25th, what do we got here? I've got the sun is conjunct my, no wait, what is this? Conjunct my Venus. Is this the Venus? No, there's the Venus, So here, yeah, because my Venus is at is 2 degrees here. So yeah, when the sun is conjunct that, but then when the sun is trine my Venus, whoops, which date would I wanted? No, there's a square. I wanted that. Yeah, well, yeah, here, this is right. The trine. So September 25th is when the sun is trine my natal Venus. So that kind of offsets some of the crappy stuff going on, in September here at the inconjunct. So it's like, all right, that's kind of cool. So you just look for things like that. When you put it out in different forms, your mind can see it. All right, now I got a new share. I want to show you one more thing today. Let's go right to the ephemeris. Okay, now another fun thing to do is to look up when I'm going to kind of switch modes to something a little different. I was talking about the transiting things, what's happened every year. Sun moves around every year. A lot of that, the Mercury moves around, so you get those aspects every year. I'm switching now to progressions, and I hope I don't confuse you. A progression, the way we work with those, and I have other earlier videos on those if you need to go back, but the way we work with a progression is this helps you to understand larger cycles of something. And it sounds a little confusing at first, but I'm just going to say it because we got to jump in somewhere. It's like a day equals 1 year. So here's the ephemeris for April 1964. I was born on the 6th. You can see the sun here. I said I had a 16-degree Aries sun. All right, and then we've got the planets, where the sun was along the top, where the moon was, this column, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all the planets going out from the sun in order. And they're where they're at day to day. You can see, like, look at Mercury here. Right before I was born, it was, it's just at the end of Aries, and then it moves into Taurus just a few days before I was born. So here on the 6th, it's actually 6 degrees, but 6 degrees Taurus. So you can see that. And we're actually going to look at the Mercury file, or the column. There we go. What the word did I want? The Mercury column. So if you want to follow along, you can just watch me here, but then when you're done, or you can pause the video and get out your chart, see where Mercury is, go to an ephemeris, and they have them online. I think it's astrodensed.com. I believe even Cafe Astrology has ephemerises. Oh, good coffee. Anyway, so you can just look down the ephemeris. So what does this mean now? So when I was born, it was, I'm just say 5 degrees, 15 minutes. The next day, it's here on the 7th, but it's a day for a year. So I'm not going to explain how it mirrors into this reality because it'll take too long right now, but just go with me here. So the next year of my life, when I turned 1, it was like 6 degrees. When I turned 2, it was 7 degrees. When I turned 3, it was 8, 9. You can see like this. So these are all each year of my life where things were. So what's interesting to note, we know Mercury has a retrograde cycle. It's like every 3 months it goes retrograde for like 21 to 23 days, depending on it, how fast it's moving. But just think every 3 months for 3 weeks. Does that like clockwork. So it's interesting. So take your, let me do this right along with you. So write down, write down Mercury on your page, and then, or draw the symbol, whatever, and then maybe write birth Mercury. Okay, so I'm gonna write, it's like 6 Taurus for me. I'm gonna write my birth Mercury. Now, what I want you to do, because there's different things that can happen. So the very next thing that can happen could be a few things. So mine is direct right here, but you might be born during a Mercury retrograde period. Okay, so, or it might just change signs immediately or whatever. So we want to look for a couple things. If your Mercury is direct, we're going to look for either 1, if it changes signs, or 2, if it turns retrograde. And we'll notice the color change in the column. So let's look down here. So here we go. It's like it moved into Taurus before I was born. So I was born here, and then it's going on Taurus. You can see 10, 11. Look, it's moving real slow now. So whenever it starts to slow down, you know it's going to go retrograde. And you see right here on April 17th, it turns red, and it's at 11 degrees Taurus. So I would have been, let's see, 17 minus 6. I'd be like, what, 11, yeah, I'd be like 11 years old, 10 or 11 years old when it turned retrograde. So I got to think of my life, what happened, 10 or 11 degrees old, 10, 11. I got glasses that year. I got real high temperature. And I noticed my eyes started to degrade after that. Affects the brain. If we look at this astromedically, Aries rules the head, and actually, like right around those degrees is the eyes. One is one eye, one is the other eye. Yeah, and I got glasses. I got nearsighted after that. I probably could have trained it doing some good vision work and getting some, cod liver oil for vitamin A, and train my eyes to see, and I probably wouldn't have had to be dependent on it. But nonetheless, you can see there's something happened. Something happened with the intellect, the brain, the sight, the vision, or something, because Aries, head, and then Taurus, the brain, the bottom of the brain, just so there's a lot there. Anyway, you can see something happen. I'm not going to go totally into that, but I just want to go through. It's fascinating, but we're going to see where something occurred. So I'm going to write, for me, I'm going to write 11 Taurus, and then it was, it was April 17th. I was like 10 or 11 years old. So I'm just going to write that down. Now I'm going to keep looking. So it's going to go retrograde now for so many, like 21 days. So I got to go to the next month. Here's May, and we can see it's still going, and look at, and then here on May 11th, here it turns direct. It goes direct. So however many years that is, and then I would note, I'd write that down, 1 degree Taurus, and I was however many years old I was, and then it started to go direct again. So then I guess I look in my life, well, what happened? Anything? Did I go to school? Did I, I get into courses, whatever? I have to go back and look at the date and what year and all that. But I want to just show you how to do this. I think that's what I went to. I studied cranial sacral. But I'll go check it anyway. Okay, so anyway, it's going forward now. Okay. And the next thing, see, what I'm going to look for is when it goes out of its shadow. See, when I was born, it was just like at 6 degrees. So it never really went more than that, right? Let's go back. I'll show you. So here's Mercury. No, actually, no, I lied. Here it goes over to 11. Okay, so that's where it never got past 11. So we're going to look and see when it goes past 11. That's when it'll be out of its shadow for me. Okay, so that's when I was born, right there at 6. And look at here, it's moving really fast here, because look, it goes in 1 year. It doesn't even, it's like it goes 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. Whoa, it just jumped. So it's half a year. So I was 24, 27, maybe like 51 or something. Is that right? If I do my math, when it went out of its shadow. So for my life, I've had early on, it went retrograde, and then there's the retrograde. Then there's this time that it's in its shadow. It didn't go past that degree. It's like before, earlier, it never made it past that 11 degrees. And here, it's finally, it's like at the end of this time, I'm just like, I don't know how many years I should have it in front of me. But anyway, I just want to show you the process rather than focus on what happened in my life. But it did something, was very important at that time. And it finally went out of shadow. So here on this part of my life, it's now past that. So you can see here, look, it's moving all the way past that. And then when I get to whatever age this is, it changes signs. Look, it's changing now into Gemini. Okay, so let's just pretend, let's just do another one, just pretend one. I'm just going to move up to when I can see. Okay, here. Let's say somebody was born in this August. Let's just put it right here, right at the 20th of 1964. That day, it just turned retrograde. So they're going to be born the first 21 days of their life. Look at, it's all retrograde. So it's not going to move, to I don't know, I should count it exactly, but it's like they're 21 or 22 when it finally moves forward. It finally moves direct, but it's not going to be out of shadow. Let's see, how far did it go? It went to 17. Okay, so it's not going to be, see, shadow, it's like it means it was moving. Mercury moved all the way up to 20 to 17 and some odd things before it went retrograde. I mean, it was in that time there, it went retrograde. So it's like now it's like it's going backwards. So that's until it goes past that, that's like in its shadow. So here it is. And here's like 17. So whenever this person, it gets at 17 Virgo this many years later in their life, is finally when they're maybe going to get some mental clarity on something, some ahas. It's like it was retrograde when they were, they may have had maybe some speech problems or speech impediments or brain problems or brain injuries or slow thinking or ADHD or any kind of thing like that. So check your Mercury to find out some of this. You might have been labeled a slow learner, and you were born right with, or a few years on into, a Mercury retrograde cycle when you were young and forming and maybe didn't communicate or get that enough. Okay, so that's really, really an interesting thing to notice and to look at where it is, because it's not going to move a whole lot in your lifetime. I mean, a lot here is not like the moon, it won't go all the way around. It'll only be these few signs. So very, very interesting. And then if it's, what if it conjuncts your sun? What if it's like behind your sun? I kind of just show you a chart. All right, so I don't, let me do a new share. Let me just show you a chart. All right. Okay, here's, oh crap, I can't go backward on this program. But anyway, here's my chart. And you can see the sun here is at 16 Aries, and then Mercury is ahead of it. It's in the next sign, right? It's in 6 degrees Taurus. If I was born and Mercury was behind the sun, let's just say it was over here where Mars is. Let's just pretend this, I'm going to just cover this up here. Let's pretend that was Mercury. So Mercury had just been retrograde, and it's now approaching the sun. You saw, in the transits for today, you can see the Mercury is going past the sun, and it was, it was retrograde a month or so ago, moving past the sun, and then it would then finish up its forward motion, and then it would retrograde back over the sun. So it would have a conjunction to the sun, say twice, forward back. Not everybody gets that. Anyway, those are just some interesting things that could happen, and it's good to note where some of these transits might be. So you see, on mine, Mercury, it went forward, and what do we say? It had to go to 11 degrees, and then it retroed back, and then it's going there, and then it won't be until like, it's not yet where it's going to go into the next sign, but you can see once it goes into Gemini, I think we saw that. I said, oh, look here, it's in Gemini. And then it will conjunct my progressed Mercury will conjunct my natal Venus. So that will be significant. It won't do it to everybody. Everybody's got something different. But you can see because my Mercury's here at birth, it's not going to move that far in my lifetime. But I have one planet that's close, so it will make the conjunction to that. Conjunctions are by far most powerful, but I can also look around to see if it's making any more aspects to things and just to note to that. All right, so that is that. Let me just go back to ephemeris and we'll wrap it up for today. I'll probably do this on other classes, hopefully, unless I get sidetracked in another one, but we can go through the same thing, but I'll just tell you, because those of you that get the astrology can just look up, do the same thing with your Venus and Mars. Go look and see where Venus was when you were born. So back to continuity. So mine, I'm going to go down Venus, and it was on the 6th. It's showing 154. It's really 2 degrees, but don't worry about it anyway. So it's like, it just rounded up, say 2 degrees. Okay, so 2 degrees Gemini. So I'm going to just start looking down, and it's going to be going here, down, and forward. All right, it's all good here. By the time I'm 24 years old, it's all, still the same. We'll keep going. 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, like 33, 34, it changes signs. So like what happened at that age? It went, Venus went, now for me, it went into the Cancerian sign. So what was going on then? It moved at quite a difference. Anyway, so then I keep looking down, and then I'll see it does go retrograde. Sometimes just the night before, the day one before. So right down here, right at the end of this time, it goes retrograde. So you want to note that, and then you can do the same thing for Mars, see where that's at. All right, very good stuff to know. Look, for your more advanced astrologers, just chart that out and look and see if it makes, conjunctions or aspects to anything else on your chart. All right, hope you enjoyed that. That's good stuff to know. See the areas of life you're moving into. Because you can see for me, I was in a lot of the Gemini stuff, and then all of a sudden went into the Cancer stuff. Really different, Venus being into Gemini, and as opposed to Venus being in Cancer. So, you can look those things up. You can see progressed Venus in Gemini, progressed Venus in Cancer. You look them up, and then, or you can just kind of see. It's like, for me, you can see like, Gemini is, all that busy mind, communication stuff, lots of this, lots of interests, and then all of a sudden it slows way down and gets, cushy and more comforty and security oriented and home or family and maybe tradition and values and conservative things and growing and food. And, it's like a whole different phase of yourself. So it's really good to see where you're going in life and where your interests are, where your drive and energy is. Mars, if it's going through a sign, if it's fall, if it's going through its fall or it's going through its detriment, it's not going to be that able to express its energy. You may be more demuted, I don't know if that's a word, squashed down, suppressed, maybe depressed, maybe not going forward totally in life, maybe not moving fast. You think, if your Mars is moving retrograde, in Cancer, if it's fall, or if it's in a place that's maybe going retrograde over your Saturn. It's like, oh dear. Those are good to know. Okay, that's because it's progressed, and it's like how you feel. You are different. You are different now than you were 10 or 12 years ago, and this is how we can track some of it and where those differences will happen, and where in your chart, what house, what sign, what's going on, and how does that change you? I think it's really, really good to know, because sometimes you meet people, you haven't seen in a while, like, whoa, they're different. That's why. All right, thanks for listening, and I hope that that's fun and interesting for you, and more to follow. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.